Hello and welcome. Happy New Year, everybody. Yeah, I hope 2020 is an awesome one. So we're just gonna jump in. I have a little bit of a new layout, and I got the chat to look normal in my screen again. So yay! Just to go in with everyone who's here. Thank you, Samuel. Welcome, Mushy. Welcome, Alurian. Good to see you. Happy New Year. You celebrated earlier, I think. Paul, as always, my amazing moderator, thank you for being here. Dave, how are you doing? Ender, welcome. Mr. Bacon, welcome. So, we are here, 2020, a new year. I don't know. Maybe everybody has New Year's resolutions. I generally don't, because I just can't handle the disappointment. So, what's happening for 2020? I don't know. Hopefully you guys have some better ideas for what you're planning to do. I've got a lot of plans in place, so we'll see. I'm working on some chaos dudes tonight for Eel Shade Spire. Let me get a little additional light on there. There we go. So I got them sort of primed today. This is from my original Shade Spire box that I bought. So I'm painting them up, got the groundwork laid, and then we're gonna start painting some lovely cod pieces and scars. And that's what you do when you paint chaos. So, yes. What are you guys all working on tonight? Maybe, yeah, that's probably better. Okay. Let's just check the chat real quick. It's moving on a little faster than I can initially keep up with. You guys were talking about Disneyland. I'm a little jealous. I've never been. But I did watch episode 1 of Mandalorian. I'll get around to the rest. Welcome to 2020. Let's crank the electro swing and start the year old sport. Very good, Todd. Welcome, by the way. Viper Taha, welcome. Jay Alexander, Happy New Year. I did get your message. I'm sorry I haven't responded. I lost track of time, but I will look at that. Happy New Year, Alorian. Happy New Year to everybody. Adarth, welcome. Braden, welcome. Disappointment of Rise. This disappointment of Rise of Skywalker, maybe. Oh, it was something. There's a lot to say about Rise of Skywalker. I don't know that it's just out and out a disappointment. Mr. Bacon, very chaosy. Exactly. We're going chaos today. Just gonna switch things up. Got stuff to work on, and one of the big things that I did for 2019 was I picked up Shadespire and Beastgrave and Night Vault. So I've got like a dozen warbands for all of the Warhammer Underworld series, and the sooner I have all of that stuff painted up, the more I can have my friends over playing, and we can either live stream it or maybe just do some proper battle reports for it. So that's my plan. Hey, Counterslam. So hey there, Eric. Welcome. Appreciate you coming by. I'm excited to see you in the end of January, I guess, for Indie Storm. So working on some cool stuff to show you on that too. He is a pretty cool mini. I love his mask. If you check it out, he's got like this crazy dog head kind of mask on there. Loads of muscle. There's 5 of them in this grouping, so I think this guy is the leader. I don't have any of their names on me. It's been a little while. So, Chaos Dude. This is Axeman. He wears Axe body spray. Fingers crossed this is the year of Slaanesh, Dave. I don't know about that. Although, with Sisters being released, you know there's going to be a Chaos version, so whatever. War Master Fluffy, welcome. Siobhan, welcome to 2020. Appreciate you reminding us of that important fact. Valerian, I've built my Imperial Knight, but now yet to prime it, so also just added some snow to Tempestus Scions. Hey, nice. Congratulations on finishing them up. Gates of Gergovia? More Wood Elf archers. Can't have too many. That's right. Never enough Wood Elves. That's what Joey Berry said back when she played those. I hate putting together Sylvaneth, but soldiering on. Well, once they're done, right? Viper Taha, yes, Happy New Year. Cyberpunk 2020 is here. Commence the bionic limbs, brain plugins, and inexplicable crappy 90s flip phones. Sounds good. I like it. No worries. I'm super behind the various creative pursuits anyway. Good. I'm glad we're all behind then, Alexander. Paul, I recognize your models as Garrick's Reavers. They're cool, but I die a lot. Well, they're getting painted anyway, Paul. Jim Vaughn, Happy New Year, welcome. Ender, starting out 2020 with some chaos in tribute to the absolute Lovecraftian horror that was 2019. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. People had some different views of 2019. It was a lot like every other year to me, but maybe. Cyberpunk these days is just a dude with a mohawk with an iPhone. It's true. Hey, Bills, welcome. Alexander, I'm pushing to get my creative output amped up in 2020. Take my art career filmmaking stuff to the next level. All right. Best of luck to you there. Or Master Fluffy, I've subscribed to your channel a couple months ago, but I never got into your stream. So this is the first time I came to your stream. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to come check it out. This is actually the new layout that I've put together for 2020. I figured out how to use stream elements. And so there's more that should happen with this at some point, but it hasn't happened yet because I have to build everything. Whew. Let's see, I gave up chaos a while back and kept up with my Sape Wolves. Nice. Bill's working on Stormlance Squad, and Jim working on Space Wolves, not Sape. It was, I was just gonna go with it. I'm like, I don't know, there's been a bunch of new stuff in 2019. Maybe there was like a new faction. So I was just getting this guy's basing done as I am wont to do, and do that first, and then we can work on getting the rest of him covered. Base coat, base coat, base coat. So that's where we're going tonight. A couple things I was changing with the stream in general. I want to add some cool things to it. I didn't have them all prepared because the holidays are crazy, and then family wants to see you, and you're like, you should probably see them. And so that happened. But I'm gonna add some stuff. I'm also shortening the stream a little bit to 90 minutes instead of a full 2 hours. Just, I think it'll be a better flow that way. And, you know, by the end of the stream, a lot of people have already been staying up super late to watch it. And they have to leave. So this way, I think it might be a little easier on everyone else who is taking the time to tune in late. So tonight will be a 90-minute stream. Instead, want to paint my Gorman DeWolf cell at some point. Gorman DeWolf's a cool one. He's fun to paint. Ragnar's fun to paint. Silas Wishnelier is fun to paint, or Silas, however you say it. Oh. I'm just ordered the Desktop Army Fate Grand Order Altar and ordered pizza. Wow, and you're completely ready to paint. Ooh. All right, let's get some base coating on. So, I got a fun new toy for Christmas, thanks to my mummy. And so one of the things I can do is mess with my live stream a little bit easier. And I haven't fully filled out, but I did get this first one where it's hooked on a button. So, here's what I'm painting tonight. This is the painted version of Garrick's Reavers. So that's what I'm approximately going for. They'll look kind of like that. So, yes, here we go. Oh man. So, obviously 2019 was a unique year for a lot of people. Some people really liked it, some people really hated it. I'm always going to blame myself first for anything in a year not happening that I wanted to have happen. And so I didn't get to do, I didn't end up doing everything I wanted in 2019, but I did get a lot done. I mean, even though I've been in like post-production craziness with my Iron Kingdom show, I still have it. So I've been trying to be appreciative of the things that I've gotten done instead of just being mad at what I haven't done yet. So sort of like reorienting. We'll see how long I stick to it. But I know that can be a little bit of a frustration. Zalus, I'm highly disappointed to find that Wargamer Girl is a heretic. You know what? The new Sisters Army did it. I blame their release. It was done. After that, I'm like, well, I'm not gonna do that. But I already have a bunch of Sisters of Battle, so I'll play them for Kill Team. And they're definitely not heretics. But at some point, sir, or madam, you need somebody to burn. And so I still need painted models, heretics or otherwise, for the Emperor's wrath to reach, or in this case, whoever the old gods are in Warhammer proper. Oof, that is some loose paint I've got here. Alright, so we're getting our base coats on this very manly fellow here who has extremely bulgy muscles. And that's where we're starting. And then what, we've got wood elves in the works tonight. I guess Tempesta Scions are done. I should really work on mine. It's hard to been keeping my attention span, I guess, keeps changing on models. I'm like, well, I really want to work on my IG army. I really want to paint some War Machine. I want to paint some, I don't know, Sisters of Battle. I want to paint some Shadespire. I really have been bouncing all over the place. But it's been kind of nice, too, because now I have, you know, more models painted than not, which has been one of the highlights of 2019. And, yeah, it's slowly coming on. It's a little thin, but we're getting there. HNY working on 120 MAK suits this year. HNY? I'm not sure what you mean, Mark. Are you the hype person who loves waiting for the mail, Miranda? With your hobby kits, I can imagine the joy of waiting for new packages. Well, I've been part of Mini Crate for, what, 4 months now? Maybe 5? Where they send you a mini. And it's a little weird because it's just a folded box. Nothing's taped or anything. And so I'm always paranoid that, you know, someone at the postal service is going to catch on to whatever awesome thing I have in there and take it. But it hasn't happened yet, so whatever. So yes, that part is fun. For the most part, though, I've also done a lot of rediscovering of like going through stuff, and I'm like, oh, I have this. Oh, I have this. So, you know, it's new to me, so I guess it's kind of a surprise, right? Packages are super fun. However, it's always stressful during the holidays because people steal stuff off everyone's front yard. Shale, working on my IKRPG party, got the Long Rider Horthal done. Now working on Pistolier Warcaster, modified Sturgeons, and might get to Reinhold. Ooh, nice! Are you gonna have a gobber? Mr. Bacon, anyways, I'm off to bed. Bloody time zone stopping me from watching. Well, thank you, Mr. Bacon. I appreciate you taking the time to pop in anyway. Alexander, I saw the last episode of Media Glitch. I'm excited to see what you and the team move forward with and how everything does. Yeah, it's been a journey, man. But Joel's got good ideas, and we're always scheming. Like anytime we hang out together, we're like, oh yeah, we really need to work on this. Or, oh, it'd be really fun if we could do this thing. And then, you know, we all have our normal jobs and all that we have to deal with, and families and such. So we're trying to fit it all in, but yeah, I think Media Glitch will have a good year for 2020 for sure. Including game reviews, so it's not like those are going away. How's it going tonight? What are you working on today? Welcome, Crafters Forge. I've got, what was it, Paul? Garrick's Reavers, the Chaos guys from the first Shadespire game, Warhammer Underworld's Shadespire. So, painting chaos tonight. Actual, proper chaos. Paul being as encouraging as ever. Thank you. Are playing Slaves to Darkness? What are you referring to? Oh, Happy New Year. Okay, thank you for that. Phils, my painting goals for 2020 are simple. Paint the half shelf of Signar, the rest of my 10mm Hytides from the 2 fleets of spaceships. Whoops. Okay. Mini Crate used to have stickers holding it closed. Well, mine don't. just finished Mollog and his buds for my Trog army, and now working on the Cities of Sigmar army. Mollog's a fun one. I had my friend Flo paint that one because he has all these weird growths and little bits on him that I knew she would do a really good job bringing out, and he's such a great looking model, and he's fun. Oh, Lorian, yes, I see a lot of front porch theft in America. It's sad. Doesn't happen a lot here. I'm waiting on the Star Destroyer model with the fiber optic lights in the post. Wow, that's really cool. Yes, package theft is rampant here. In fact, I mailed something to my brother this last Christmas, or, this Christmas here, and it wasn't small, and it was stolen, so. And then the post office is like, what? We just drop stuff off at the front door. Whether you're home or not, or if you ask otherwise, whatever. So that's been annoying. Maybe my 2020 goal for gift giving is digital only. Like, yeah, here's a Steam gift card. I know there's this cool comic you like, but apparently someone else wanted it more. So yes, the package theft is a really bad problem. It's so frustrating because it's one of those things where it's like, you're not doing it because you're starving. You're doing it because you're an a-hole. So, I digress. Just getting my last layers on here. That, I don't know, what should that helmet look like? Yeah, I agree. Bony. We'll do that. I bought Tyranid Harspecs and Blood Angel's Death Guard set to work on. Both look like a fun challenge. Oof. Do you have like a particularly challenging model for 2020? I think mine is finally going to be that Stormlord. Because I really want it. But it's been just... like, I don't know how to approach it. But with the year ahead and giving myself a whole year to figure it out, I think I can probably get there or appropriately delegate it. We'll see. One of those two things will happen. I need him. I need my Stormlord. But yeah, there's a lot of beautiful models that have been coming out. Jeez, I don't know if you've all been keeping up with the Kickstarters that have been coming out in 2019 either, but lots and lots and lots of models if you've been looking for them of all kinds. Including, what was the funny one I saw? Oh, Christmas themed dudes, like bad guys, where you're fighting like gingerbread men and stuff. It was hilarious. I didn't get them, but it is hilarious. There you go. So manly. Hittites. Oh, duh. I knew that. I have a friend who modifies minis to use in our IKEA Pujiva games. Yeah, well, that's what you have to do. There's not a lot of options they give otherwise. At the post office, send it signature required. Yeah, maybe that's a good idea. Never seen a front porch being stolen, but then I'm in Finland, not the US. Well, we dream big here and steal big too in the US. So, whole porches, whatever. I'm retired, so I'm usually home when a package arrives. Oh, good. It's definitely easier. Yes, Paul, thank you. I definitely appreciate you waiting. I should be able to get my package sent off to you as well this month. Hey, Brian, welcome. I am eagerly dreading Old Witch 2. Just take it, like, not sub-assembly, but just for me, and admittedly I kind of pawned most of that work off, but in sections. You're like, focus on the cabin part, focus on the scrapjack part, paint her separately, because that's a massive model, and she's so detailed and beautiful. So good. Oh, Fate Keeper's such a beautiful model. Todd, my 2020 goal is to get confident enough in my painting to get on my Grimkin army. Don't want to not be happy with the paint job of my favorites. The Grimkin are pretty fun. Murder crows are pretty. If you have those in your army, they're probably a really good entry point because they're very simple colors for the most part. once you're getting into like the dread rots, then you have brighter colors and vine work and just more detail. But if you're looking to kind of just build your confidence, I would say start with something like the Murder Crows. Let's see, Mark. 2020, for me, a fun sculpt of Alice in Wonderland figures, all falling poses. Nice. DJ Todd, yeah, I'm thinking my Chronicle X game was stolen. That or the aliens reclaimed it. Very sad and angry. It is. It's such an awful, frustrating feeling. And helpless, because, like, I don't know where to look, you know? That's that. It's getting sold on the street somewhere. It's freaking annoying. Dave, I bought some expensive busts to paint from the UK, and then I saw the same ones from AliExpress for 30% of the price, so I ordered them. My friend told me they were rip-offs from China. Probably. China does do a lot of recasts where they'll take the model. In fact, I think a lot of GW stuff, part of why it's printed, or most of it's printed, if that's still the case, in the UK, was because China kept stealing their models, and so they just did them in-house. But you're never going to get away from piracy. I mean, it's not like China's known for their respecting of IP or copyright. Bills, my challenge will be the Signar Colossal. Talking about like the Hurricane, the new one? Happy New Year, Christian. Welcome. David, I stupidly thought that they were originals and that the UK had a 70% markup or whatever. Yeah, it happens. I ended up painting the bat squig to match my SO budgie. Nice. Let's see. The Penitent engine for my sister is going to be a challenge, and when the Exorcist and Immolator kits come out, phew. Oh, I'm not ready for that. I have an Exorcist. I think I'm just going to stick with what I have. Did someone say Murder Crows? Are they the ones in Zombie Side? I know you can use those crows in Warhammer 40k for Jakari Dark Elf Ravens. Maybe. They're not the ones in Zombie Side. They're actual Privateer Press models for Grimkid. GW also created in Japan now. Okay. I'm going to try and paint the Creature Caster Lord of Metamorphosis in 2020. Alright, if you're painting any of the Creature Caster models, hats off to you, because those models are very intimidating. I mean, they had a whole bunch of them on display at Valhalla when Creature Caster came out, and like I didn't even want to touch them. Like, oh gosh, they're so ornate. It's basically how I feel anytime I saw any of the old Warhammer Fantasy models, and I'd go into the tournament rooms at Adepticon, or I guess mostly there, and I just didn't want to look like I was never going to touch anybody's, and I don't touch people's models without asking anyway, but like even if they asked me to, it's like, nope, I don't want to be responsible for what happens if I touch this fiddly model. So, good on you, man. Got an NFL beanie directly from China for $7. Exact same hat sells for $30 in the US. Well, yeah, now you're just buying direct in that case, because you know they're all made there. But that is neither here nor there. This guy's got a little bit of gapping. Check it out. Little mold line gap. So it's funny because a lot of these are push fit, right? But you can see he's got little right down his butt crack there. But let's see if we can't just fill it with more paint. Mope is painting the Creature Caster she won for the painting competition. I bet she's going to do a really good job with that one. She's a really beautiful model, and I was surprised it was doing a giveaway like that too, so I hope she enjoys it. And I'm really glad it went to somebody who is just a painter anyway, so I feel like it was a perfect situation. Let me get a little more on here. Speaking of which, I'm using my Creature Caster brushes, which I've still managed not to break. This guy's starting to fray a little bit on the ends there. Maybe you can see. Yeah, it's doing that. But you water it and it kind of comes together again mostly. So I haven't busted it yet, much to my own surprise. Go me. There we go. Alright. So we know that's bone, we know that these pants, those pants are gonna be leather course they're chaos. They're running around in leather pants. I mean, they're basically like heavy metal dudes. So that makes sense to me. But I don't use just any old black. I use wrought iron by Folkart. Not sponsored by Folkart. Though I don't know. Maybe that should be a 2020 goal. Do I upgrade my paints or do I reach out and say, hey, Folkart people? Ooh, let me see here. The existing Exorcists are still beautiful. Love the sculptures on the side. I have two things. That lump of metal also good for fending off home intruders. Yes, I would actually probably recommend a recast of the metal lump because I like the organ setup. I mean, it's silly, but it's super sisters. I know they have the redone, I think the Forge World Exorcist, where it's a more normal looking weapon, which is totally uninteresting to me. But it would be nice if it didn't look like it was doing a wheelie all the time due to the weight on the back end of the immolator rhino chassis or whatever it is. No, the storm wall. It's a resin metal model and require a bit of cutting off the injection mold stuff and filling it to look good. Yeah, the early Colossals did need a little bit of work on some minor gapping, but some gapping nonetheless because you had some pieces that were resin and then some pieces that were metal. So the new ones are nice because it's just plastic. My 2020 painting goals are to add more minis to my table of shame of unpainted minis. There you go. That feels like a very attainable goal. I'm working on my bolt action German army currently. Nice. Man, we had a huge bolt action turnout at Valhalla this year as well. Or this year. Last year. Wow. And so I'm looking forward to seeing that again this year because it was really beautiful. Baking powder and super glue to fill the gaps. Yep. To fix seams, try filling with Elmer's glue. I've also used that technique and it's also quite good. You should paint the pants as jeans. Just to throw people off. I appreciate the thought, but no. Has anyone else noticed the shortage of Citadel green stuff? I went to several hobby shops looking for it and wound up buying a wargaming brand. I didn't know. Hair conditioner helps with cleaning the brushes and straightening the brush hairs. No kidding! Well, I have plenty of hair conditioner. We didn't have a Valhalla since last decade. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so weird. You're right. Well, be that as it may. It's coming back. That's crazy. New decade. So I guess we're what, officially in the 20s? We just call it the 20s now, right? We don't have to say like the 2020s or in Barbara Walters' voice or any of that. Just say the 20s. Is that how we refer to it now? Is that open to debate? My brother had a long post on Facebook about insisting we call it the 20s because we've failed to name the last 2 decades properly. I don't know, he's oddly impassioned about it. Alright, so probably leather boots, but those can probably be black leather boots. Let's get your bit painted there. Alright, on the bright side, chaos is mostly red, leather, and metal. I guess skin for scarring. But that's about it. So, straightforward enough. It's nice to have a good, relatively easy model to start off with. Although, I say that, there's 5 of them to paint. So, best to get those done. But then I've got 3 different warbands for Stormcast Eternals and my dwarves. Which there's another one. I don't have the other dwarf set. I have the chosen axes, so we see. We see. Trying to finish Zombicide and Invader, add 1 Nemesis, and now Fallout Wasteland Warfare core set. Goodness. Went to the green stuff world or other. You can even get 1 meter strips if you look around. 1 meter? Holy cow. Now I painted my corpse grinder cult guys with jeans since they are factory workers of a sort. Well, that makes sense, but I don't know if the Gods of Chaos necessarily employed denim in their typical usage. Seems like the skin of dead animals would be more appropriate to chaos. I don't know, maybe I'm just getting too meta with it. You are technically correct. I wonder if they precondition the little sables before they shave them. That's a good question. Roaring 20s. Maybe. That could be bad, technically speaking. Just saying. I've been calling it the decade previous to last as the aughts. Yeah, and that's how I was referring to it, but apparently it's not what everybody necessarily referred to it as. And I guess it caught on more in England than in the US, but I don't know. It's weird when you spend so much of your time on the internet, you don't know what your local environment necessarily picks up, culturally speaking. You just know what the overarching sentiment is in your immediate circle, which may well be international, which mine often is. So, I don't know. Apparently, it wasn't super common for people in the US to refer to the 2000s as the aughts. But that is secondhand information that I couldn't verify. But I'm happy to call this decade just the 20s. Hopefully it's a good year. And a good decade. And, doesn't follow the last roaring 20s we had. That'd be cool, too. Excuse me, I have to paint his long loincloth. Oh, he's called the 2000 the Naughties. I have heard that. Yes. I don't think I could get away with that. Everyone would be way too much look. Of a weird look. You have Stormcast. I have 3 Stormcast Eternal warbands. So 2 of them are painted. Not by me. I love chaos. I know, Paul. Partly this was for you. I hope so. Love me some jazz and big band music. Oh, there you go. We're going to see a resurgence of ska this time around. So the last century at the Roaring 20s. What active will the 21st pick up? Good question. What objective? Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully not the sad. I just hope it's positive. I remember my 20s. Hair, a new car, and a job I hated. Now we have none of those. Well, cars come and go. In this day and age, due to modern chemistry, hair comes and goes. And not having to go to a job you hate is a win. Chaos has casual Fridays too. Nice. I'm sure they do, but I imagine you still wear the skin of dead animals or your enemies. Just saying. Lords of Chaos enforce the business casual workplace. I don't know, do you get away with wearing leather pants in a business casual environment? I've never tried it. I'm not above trying it. I don't know, we'll see. Hair is overrated, bald is beautiful. That's right, you just ask Bruce Willis, which one of my Catachan jungle fighters is totally being modeled like. Ah, love it. With the Roaring 20s, let's see, it's the Roaring 20s, at this time I'll just refer to people fighting on social media. That is fantastic, Viper. You're yes. Back in my days, we communicated with 2 tin cans connected by a twine. Oh man, first person called it the Roaring 20s, gets paddling. Not sure Chaos employed Dedham. Miranda's quote of the year. Oh, thank you. Oh gosh, now we're talking about Prohibition. What happened to this chat? Any good New Year's resolutions? All right. Yeah. So assuming that everybody's got their weight loss schedule in place, their budget in place, and removing any toxic people, what actual resolutions do you want to have for 2020? Because all those other things you probably should have been doing the second you thought about them. But, New Year's resolutions can be fun for some. Again, I don't generally follow them because, I don't know, if I overschedule it, I just seem to not do it. But I'm going to say, I guess if I were going to pick one, I would say my Stormlord. I think that's a reasonable, attainable, measurable goal. That's how that works, right? What are they? SMART goals, where you do you make sure that it's something you can do in some measurable way so that you can check your progress and reward appropriately. What are some good wargaming New Year's resolutions? Some new games, maybe? And does that get hard? Because it's not like you know what you're going to buy throughout the new year, especially with something like Kickstarter in place, because something may come along that just completely holds your attention and that you just want to get in on. And when that happens, is that bad? Does that destroy a New Year's resolution if you're like, I'm going to focus on this game or whatever? Painting very fast and aggressively. Because that's how you paint chaos. Aggressively. Although, so these guys were originally painted or primed black. And then today they got primed in a sort of zenithal way to gray. Mostly because on black primed models, it's really hard to see any detail. Turns out it's still kind of hard to see detail. But, so as far as getting some of the underside, it still falls to black really easy. So I'm kind of guessing as to whether or not I'm covering the model enough. A little tricky. Wait a minute, hair comes and goes. Mine's only been going. Well, what is it? There's all kinds of hair services. Just saying, they can come. Prohibition maybe, but you can't tell me the new take on speakeasies wouldn't be cool. As long as it has arcades, I'm down. No, when hair goes, it's gone. I mean, there's transplants. Just saying. I don't understand why you're not doing this stream on Twitch. Well, this is YouTube and it's designed to focus on like the wargaming side. When I stream on Twitch, I'm usually playing video games. So while there may be Warhammer inspired video games that I'm playing, say Vermintide or Chaos Bane, which I'm working on, or even Blood Red States, what was the name of it? Dark Future. Then that's more just the video game side of it. It's hard to do the hobbying on Twitch. You kind of like pick a specialty on there. So maybe in the future, maybe if YouTube keeps acting weirder and weirder, then maybe that would make sense to do, but not yet. In 2020, I shall build and paint my Lord of Skulls. Well, all right, Paul. We should send each other pictures and measure each other, like, our progress to show, like, that we've worked on it each week or something like that. Mine is finish my Adeptus Mechanicus army. At least 1,500 points. Well, it's not a small amount. Still less models than if you were orcs or something, so it should be doable. Years ago, I made a resolution to never make another New Year's resolution. I've kept that one. Fair enough. Sticking to adding more minis to my table of shame. Very easily attainable. Oh, Stormlord. Hobby resolution to fill out and finish my sister's army when the new stuff releases. Personally, maybe halfway to a home deposit? Ooh, nice. How much does it, like, how much do you have to put down to buy a house in Australia? Like, here it's anywhere from 3 to 5 to 20%. Or more if it's a commercial property. But I know in everywhere else it's harder. Rather than a resolution, I prefer to pick a theme for each year. This year's theme for me is effectiveness. Doing what works and letting go of what doesn't. All right. Seems like a good approach. Try not to get sucked in a new game that quickly loses momentum and dies off in my area. Well, so that's more of a problem with just miniature war games, right? Where you need a meta and you need people to keep up with the game. But there's so many board games. I mean, do any of you participate in like board game Kickstarters? Because that's usually where I think people get lost. And then, it's not like there's not models on there to paint, so you want to get those painted and then Once again, you slip down the rabbit hole of endless models to paint. I mean, maybe I'm just talking about myself. I don't know. Let's see, what are these guys supposed to look like again? Ah, red shin guards, some pretty gold. A lot of gold on these guys. They're so gaudy. Look like Scorn models. Which I guess Scorn, corn. Do that on purpose. Beautiful. What color is his sash? It's like a brown sash. That's weird. Well, we'll figure it out. He's got a pretty axe. We can paint that. Ah. Painting some Warhammer stuff. What? That's right. The closest I get to playing Age of Sigmar is through Warhammer Underworlds. I saw the war cry, I looked at the war cry, and they still wanted me to buy more models than I already owned, so I was not interested. Just like, I'm gonna stick with the Warhammer Underworlds. And I've got Beastgrave models that I need to work on too, but they're not assembled yet because I suck. But yeah, here we go. I need to finish my Tau Farsight army. My goodness, yes. That hairspray, that hair in a spray can is definitely a miracle of modern chemistry. In Australia, about 20%, so you'd need about 60 grand on a solid home in my area. Well, it's not unattainable, but yeah, it's definitely a chunk. Guess I'm preparing for Warhammer the Old World. Oh yeah, that was where I heard about that. It seemed like just a little blip, though, about them saying, oh hey, fantasy players, we haven't totally ignored you. We just needed to copyright all those names, so here you go. We'll see. Aaron spray can. Twitch works well for some things. I streamed the horror Visage from Miranda. Oh my gosh, I need to watch you play Visage again. That was really fascinating. I was super into it, even though I was getting wigged out and screamed a couple times. But, you know, it's still a really good game. I game with family and friends on Saturdays. They do all the Kickstarters. They have like 400 something word card dice games. Kind of crazy. We play something different every week. My goodness. Whew. And I will ignore whatever they come up with to try and force us to buy whole new armies. Fair enough. Corn, scorn, cricks equal... Corn equals scorn, cricks equals terrible people. That's true. Yeah, still no love for cricks here. I've resolved not to get another Kickstarter campaign. Does the Kickstarter pledged last year count towards this year? No, because you know about it already. Warcry is pretty legit. I recommend it instead of AOS at low points. Fair enough. Fair enough. They said 3 years out for Old World. 3 years? That's a bizarrely committed to time frame. That's really far out. I'm a little surprised, quite honestly. Okay, so what are these sashes? Let's paint metal. That's what's gonna happen here. Back to painting out of the lids. I've got my mixture. It's just easier this way. Letting my my metallic paint slowly dry out. Alright, let's get some metal. Do so like the way my metallics look on here. Now it's interesting, I'm gonna try it, but this axe actually has a whole bunch of gold edging along it. So the metal is really the inlay, it's the lowest layer on the model. And then the rest of it around all of the edges are going to be a nutmeg brown because then I dry brush the gold on it. Although I'll probably do it a little bit heavier just so it's more, I guess a little more gaudy just as opposed to brassy. So that's plan? Let's see. I got an hour. I got 45 minutes. I can do this. I'm debating whether or not I should resolve for New Year's to chill out on my World of Warcraft playing or amp it up and play on stream more. Because, man, that game, that actually should be metal. That actually can be, okay, well, the chain's metal. Metal chain. Oh, look at that teeny little chain. So cool. Focus. Not on my paints. There we go. But I figured one thing that, I mean, I have plenty of challenges for 2020, but it's kind of nice to have challenges in different areas. Like, well, my hobby challenge will be to assemble and paint my Stormlord, however that happens. But then, like, you know, personal goals, channel goals. I do have some big plans for 2020. Actually, I'm really wanting to open up the channel a little bit more to the community, and seeing how I need to approach that. But there's such cool people in the community right now, and one of the things I really miss and loved about going to conventions is meeting all the people who do stuff in the community. And, you know, like I get to hang out and see Eric for Indie Storm at the end of the month for his inaugural convention. So that's super awesome. So plenty of things like that to check out. So I think 2020 is going to be a big year for that. And then I bought my tickets for Adepticon. Now I just have to figure out how to go to Adepticon. That'll be fun. Alright, so the chain here is actually a layer above the leather it's against, so probably still gonna have to correct. I think I over painted. There we go. Yay, Indie Storm. I think it's gonna be great. I'm looking forward to it. 400 may be a stretch, but it's still a huge number. Fills 3 walls of a room. Board Game Renaissance, man, that's kind of what the last decade was, especially for Kickstarter. Well over, I mean, I remember multiple years ago, Kickstarter announcing that they had done over $1 billion or something, and I think that was just for board games. It's crazy. So, there's that. The Kickstarter for GW paint bottle caps that turned them into dropper bottles got my money. Well, see, and then there's just good ideas. Bill, Space Hulk was my gateway game into 40K 2nd edition. I had fun playing both, and 3rd edition rules came out. Did not appeal to me. Have you kept up with it since then? Because, what, we're up to 8th edition now, and the 8th edition rules, you know, kind of simplified, but makes for a pretty fun game. Not a balanced game, but a pretty fun one. My Warcry Unmade are really not for me. I just can't get into the game. The game is fun, just not for me. I'm gonna give my models away. What? You're gonna give them away? Play Graveyard Keeper. Yes, I have been playing too much Graveyard Keeper, so I have a weak point. I have a weakness for farming simulators. I get it, it's weird, but it's a thing. And, you know, Stardew Valley has had probably a couple hundred hours of gameplay from me. And now Graveyard Keeper has like 25 hours, and I've only played like 3 days. It's bad. So, but it's a really fun game because you play this guy who, it's not accurate, not like farming simulators are anyway, who tends a graveyard, and then there's a whole bunch of weird stuff that happens, and you can make zombies, and you do autopsies, and then you can grow some crops or fix stuff. It's so weird. It's just fascinating. Just keep wanting to see what else you can do in it. So anyway, that totally had my attention. Can't believe how well you can paint with those paints. I have a bunch of them I use for terrain. And, well, thank you, Spaz Tech. I appreciate that. I do okay for them, but I think you can kind of work with any sort of paint as long as, and there's the caveat, as long as you spend enough time on it. The problem with craft paints is that you have to work with them more than you do for higher quality paints. And so while you have 50-cent paint pots that last a long time, it's going to take more of your own lifetime to paint the actual models. And in that regard, you have to decide whether or not it is worth it. So what's the question? What's your time worth? That is the question when you look at craft paints. And they are great for terrain, of course. But the other thing, of course, is that you do have a larger pigment in there. It's not as finely ground, as I've learned. And so you'll get more grain, especially in the place of like skin textures. So this is the Kislev Flesh. Like that's an actual GW Citadel paint. That's not I don't use any of the craft paints for skin tone because I don't like the actual texture it gives me for it. This guy's very plain. I'm gonna have to get a wash on him to get all his muscles to stick out. I love painting Musclemen. It's so cute. Oh my gosh, I missed so many. I'm sorry. Space Hulk is an awesome game. I intro into Warhammer 40k too. Wow. Also, if you know anyone with an airbrush, it's a speedy ticket getting your Stormlord painted. It's fast, smooth cameo pattern. Oh man. Whoa! Why, Brandon, thank you. What do you have to say? Do you read the novels? If you don't, you must. It will enhance your gameplay playing experience. I've read, or I assume you're talking about the 40k novels. Yes, I've read some of them. I actually have a ton of them in ebook format that I got a hold of through a Humble bundle this year, or in 2019. And so I'm currently still stuck on, because I stopped, but I need to get back to it. I'm reading Katie and Blood, which looks like, it's been an interesting one so far. But then I also read the Sisters novels years and years ago. I probably should reread them because they're not really in my head anymore, but it was Fire and Faith, Faith and Fire, and Hammer and Anvil with Decima and Verity, and you're following those characters. But there's, I haven't read The Horus Heresy, and I haven't read, a majority of them. There's well over 100 books. With regard to War Machine, I've read most of the novels, including a bunch that I have in ebook format, and I just devoured in order to get the IKRPG going. And so I wanted to make sure that I knew what was going on and be reasonably informed for that story. So on those, I've read the majority of them, though not all, and then, yeah, I'm working on 40k. There's so many books. So, there you go. That's me answering that question. 3 years out for Old World, my goodness. The idea of getting the Stormlord painted with an airbrush could be good. I don't know anybody with an airbrush, but I don't know. Maybe Flo can get a gift this year. Like, here, paint my stuff. Use this. Warcry and AOS are essentially simplified versions of Warhammer skirmish warbands and should have never been more than intro games for newbies. Yeah, but they always want to expand on it because it'll be popular, and so of course they want to put out more expansions to kind of foster that audience. It's weird. Never mind the atrocious lore. Fair enough. Still have Space Hulk and play it every now and then. The golden age of board games, and people still want to play Monopoly. Well, that's what's familiar, I think. Kind of remind you of a Slaneshi Temptress? There's no way. I would not get along with Slanesh. A well-balanced game is not a very profitable game. Just ask Privateer Press. There's more problems than it just being a balanced game. It was where they put their focus and who they listened to in the case of dear old Privateer. About the 2014 re-release edition of Space Hulk. Still haven't opened it. I think that's the one I have. I think I'll try to sell my Magic collection this year. But I'll put it all into a college savings for the newborns in February. Aw, congratulations. Hopefully you'll do alright on the Magic cards. Her eyelashes are on bleak today. The wings are nice, very pretty. No intent to be creepy. Well, thank you. I spent a lot of time practicing. And yes, I'm glad to see my Underworld's getting worked on as well. Rumor has it that Wargamer Girl is going to be doing some Space Hulk battle reports. Well, rumors are rumors. But, you know, it is a game that already has painted models and would make sense to do. And I currently have a streaming room and facilities to make this all happen, so. It'll happen. Soon. Asterisk. I tend to use craft paints for my bases. There you go. Gotta be careful with Underworld as Season 1 Shadespire is going to be phased out. It's like Magic the Gathering seasons, but with minis. Ugh. Well, the minis will still get used to some extent, I'm sure. But I didn't know they were phasing out their actual usage. Like, what's the point of that? Yet everyone was complaining about card bloat. There's no winner. Read Hell's Reach. Yeah, and so I've kind of cheated, right? Because Richard Boylan did Hell's Reach. So I've seen the visual audiobook performance of Hell's Reach, which is amazing. I mean, Richard Boylan did a great job. So it's like, I'll get to it, but I can wait now because I've seen that, is my logic in it. This is your fault, Paul. Graveyard Keeper, so good. Do you know the basic stuff about the horse heresy? Yes. I'm upset about GW's policy on playing card accessories. Necromunda Underdark cards are on sale on eBay today for $175 for one pack. Jeez, it's crazy. Swede Dirkter Plastic, welcome. I'm painting Cass today. Hey Jay, where's Jen today? Larry Correa's War Machine books are my favorite. Yeah, he's done a good job. I'm actually off work today and wait for it, hobbying, painting some Ultra Primera Marines. Really. Warhammer Underworlds and Warcry don't translate to AOS in the same way Kill Team does to 40k. They are more akin to Necromunda, same universe, different rules. Interesting. Matthew, night, John, or Matthew, appreciate coming by. Hey, 12, neat. Underworld's phased out in the Universals. Phase out the Universals for Shadespire Season 1. The faction-specific cards are fine. Phased out the Universals. Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. Just have to make sure to pull them out, I guess. So, that just is what it is. I need a different brush for this. Let's go with something a little sleeker. This one we're using my number 2 Baumwick Artillery brush. Nice long bristles on it. Kind of gets into places. Because that's always the hard part for me. I'll miss parts on a model because the shape of it. So like where his skull mask meets his skin, there's a little bit I've missed there because the paint just stopped because of the change in the topography of the model and me not being thorough enough. Silly me. There we go. So the skull is brown to start with, and then I'm going to dry brush it white. That way it just looks kind of dirty. That's the goal on that. Ooh. Not being very careful at all. Let's get his skin cleared off there. More the other way around for Kill Team as you make warbands from existing 40k models, whereas Underworld and Warcry were made for those games. Don't see them being super good. That's fair. I thought with a lot of the warbands for Shadespire, though, you can use them. There are warbands that you just buy for AOS. The Night Haunts seem like they're perfectly compatible. Guess I'm missing something. Paul, you're giving me credit far too early on, darling. This is a ways off from being done. Now, if you excuse me, I have to paint a skull on a scratch. These games, the things they make us do. That actually all is supposed to be gold. Oof, this will be a little tricky to paint. Be interesting. My nutmeg brown here is bizarre. Like, it is just a thin paint, so kind of need to do a few layers of it anyway. But because all of this is supposed to be gold, and I use the Nutmeg Brown as my underbase for it, my first coat, and then also for the skull, it's going to be quite interesting to get my skull dry brushing on without messing up the parts that need to be gold. Oof, that's gonna be tricky. On the bright side, the under part of it can be red. Sweet. Let's paint some red next. That sounds nice. Nice fun color. Get the rest of his belt on here. I do like this brush because those long bristles really help get paint in where you need without spilling over onto another part of the model. And I guess that's one of the interesting things that's been interesting for me for 2019 is that my hobbying really ramped up as opposed to my gaming. And so it's really been the focus. And now I should be able to incorporate that well into 2020, to the new decade. Primed a few Underworld warbands for Underworlds during a fluke nice day in New York. Oh, New York City, yeah. My Mind GW really does not care for their customers as people. They only want your money. It's a shame because I really love 40K. But geez, calm down on the... My employee got mad at me for using Battle Scribe. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that with them. It's probably too... I guess probably not entirely accurate to say that that's all they care about because it's a company, right? And companies are made up of people. Lots and lots of different people. And various ones in charge want different things at different times. So there's probably, a few people who are in 40K who work for GW who are just truly interested in making a really good game and making something that people really want to play. And then there are at odds of people who, like you say, they just want your money. And it's always a battle because that's usually what you have because, again, it's made up of a bunch of people. It's all company is. So you can only... And the thing is, those people who want to make really good games are needed. They need the people who want to make money, need the people who know how to make a good game. They never seem to treat them right. It's always such a weird thing. It's like they have a really hard time recognizing that. Don't mind me thinking out loud. So, this guy needs a whole lot of Nutmeg Brown. I'm gonna get his golden axe going. It's gonna be sweet. And then I'll look at the chat here in just a second. Sunkle. Are there any Warcry bands for like Dark Elves? I was going to get some off-brand female figures or maybe the Reaver kit. I don't know. I wanted to make my presence known, but it's time for me to cut out. I'm working a project which requires my full attention. Thanks for keeping the company. Thanks, Alexander. Appreciate it coming by. Conan Mills. What's up, y'all? Welcome. Appreciate you hanging out. We're just painting for another half hour, hanging out, talking about the new year, talking about hobby goals, actually. More Underworlds? Yes, there's always more Underworlds. I have so many warbands. Thank you, Mogwai. Welcome. Yes and no, Kill Team doesn't really play like general 40K. There are differences between the two games, and I guess that was a conversation going on there. It's crazy. Battlescribe is the best for Warhammer 40K / AOS army builds. Now, AOS has an actual digital army builder, as I understand it. It's just always been shocking that they've not been able to put that together for 40K, or don't, or won't, or whatever. That's really foolish, because even when I haven't been playing War Machine, I still look at War Room, because it's still like, it gets you interested in the game, because you're thinking about it, and you're kind of looking at the different model options or themes, and it's exciting. It makes the game exciting to play. So it's very foolish if they aren't working on a version of their own for Battlescribe. And who knows? Maybe they are, but it's kind of sounding unlikely given how much time has passed. And the fact that it already exists for AOS. I mean, really. Now, 40K probably has more models, but still seems silly. I don't get it. Here. Here are Daughters of Cain. That's close to Dark Elves. Yeah, there you go. Our GW store manager openly promotes using Battlescribe because he's smart and he knows that gets people into the game. What you gotta do is wear a Vallejo baseball cap and Mantic sweatshirt, moonwalk into a GW shop doing body-popping dance moves and slap down your creature caster minis on the gaming table. Yeah, I'm sure that'll go over super well. I really hope they bring out more bans for Warcry. The fact that there's no Skaven yet is a crime. Oh, Skaven. Hey, Dustin, welcome, man. We were talking about Media Glitch earlier and all our big plans. There you go. AOS does have all the rules. It can... Let's see, it can be all company. When I worked for Midway 10 years ago, half of us wanted to make fun of it and the other wanted to make money at all costs. To make fun, yeah, exactly. And that's what you always get. I assume apps are expensive and a pain to maintain. It's the only conclusion I can come up with. Are they? You can go on Fiverr and have people make apps for you. And it's not like you even have to make an amazing app. I mean, let's be real, War Room kind of sucked when it first came out because it was super clunky and super drained your battery. But it had enough support to sort of get refined over time. And, I mean, I don't think GW necessarily cares about something being, passing all of the quality control before pushing it out the door. I just feel like there's some person stuck in the mud about it. Like, they need to buy the books. And they can buy a digital version of the books that they manually have to look up on the PDF because, that's how we need them to get through it. Unless they're trying to figure out how they can justify charging like $200 for an app or something, which would be bananas. I don't know. Alright, let's get this axe painted. Problem is usually sales and middle managers versus creative and technically talented people in companies. Yep. Middle managers. Not even like regular managers can be amazing, but middle management is a very hit or miss thing for people. Whenever you see all of the worst corporate behaviors, it's usually done by middle management. I mean, enforced by them. I'm sure the ideas still come from some twerp in a huge office somewhere, but who knows? Who knows? That'd be nice, though. If they did make that app, I would be, I'd probably get it. I mean, unless it did cost $200, in which case, screw that noise. But I think that's the thing they're trying to figure out is how to keep people buying the new codexes and whatnot. Because when War Room came out for War Machine, you can, I think it was like $60 or something to have all of the factions, everything. And then you're done. You just have them, even with updates. And I'm pretty sure DW does not want to give you updated stuff for free if you've bought it already. So, and, people aren't going to really want to get maybe a digital version if they think it's going to change out in a year, or there's going to be some new update and they make you buy the whole thing again. So they've probably been trying to figure out exactly how much money they can get out of people for that sort of thing. I could see that. So much preparation. Dry brush requires so much preparation. Not a fan of the iOS app. And I haven't messed with it. I just know they have one. It started to happen during the creation of The Witcher 3 and CD Projekt Red. I play in a game where a player uses dice rolling app. I find that a bit sad. Yeah, and I've downloaded the dice rolling app before just to see, because you can, change the type of dice and how many and the colors and all that, but it's not the same. I mean, and I'm sure Paul will back me up because he has a dice addiction, but there's something nice to just the tactile feel of rolling dice. It can be noisy and they can get lost on tables, so then you want to have your little dice mat for it, but yeah, I don't necessarily get on board with the app unless there's a very specific reason to. Like you forgot your dice, which is the reason I downloaded my dice app before. Alright, I'm at the top of this guy, and I think we can start dry brushing. So much gold. Going to be interesting to see. And then this guy's gonna get probably a sepia wash. I don't think he needs to go with full Nuln oil. Not a sepia wash, the Agrax Earthshade. Yes, that. So, we'll see. Whew, all right. Ever watched the movie Office Space? It's my spiritual Bible. Oh, I love Office Space. Of course I've seen it. It's funny because I work with a lot of girls now who haven't seen it, and it's a movie from the 90s, so unless you're actively going back to watch it or have really heard about it, most people right now don't, like most people in the workplace anyway, don't seem to be very aware of that movie. It's so weird because it's so real. So real. And you're like, you know these people, right? But yeah, that's a good one. I like that movie. And I haven't ever seen anything like it again. There are people who kind of make fun of the whole workplace environment, but I don't think they quite capture it that same way. Like, what was it? Mike Judge made that movie, didn't he? I think. It's the guy who did King of the Hill. But yes, it's great. The Guild Ball app is great. Simple but effective. But that's what you want. If you're going to have an app and you're going to make it where people may have to use their phones or their tablet, you want something where that battery isn't getting super drained on it, especially for any sort of tournament thing. And that was a big deal when War Room first came out because the War Room app would crash. And if you were using it in a tournament and your app crashed and you couldn't get your data back, you lost automatically. So of course people were like, I'm sure some people risked it, but plenty of people were just printing cards because that wasn't going to be worth it. And it's still the case. I mean, that is still the rule insofar as I know. I don't know how you do anything else. But for me, if I'm going to do any sort of tournaments, I'm going to have my list ahead of time and print those cards out because it's nice. War Room has been really fun for the theory craft of the game, I think. I feel like I should make that red. This guy doesn't have, well, his shin guards can be red. Let's do that. All red? No, just the inside. Ooh, so much. Now my red, unfortunately, is also a little thin, so it needs a few layers, especially since this is basically on black paint and primer. So, we'll see. There we go. We're slowly getting red on him. Make him a proper chaos dude. And that will slowly come up. And then I think I'm going to paint that bit red too, just to keep it a little interesting. Red metal, as opposed to just straight metal. It kind of balances it too, I think. There we go. Nice happy lines of red. Beautiful. I don't mind paying more if I feel I'm getting perceived value with great sculpt or storytelling and art in a codex. It's true. And the codexes are nice for that. I also really love dice. I have specific color sets for my 3 armies. Wow. Yeah, real dice are nice. The thrill of dropping them and having 100 hit the ground and scatter everywhere. Yeah, or because they come in those cases, right? And if they fall, they'll usually just explode everywhere. It's great. Finally found the glory. Yes, Jay, I finally found the glory of Agrax Earthshade. And found the pack that I have. It's even a tall one, because there's a good chance I'll spill it. Have you seen my stapler? I actually had a friend of mine give me the Office Space, like, a kit, like a gift kit or whatever, which included like a coffee mug and a stapler and the Jump to Conclusions mat. It's great. I used to have this carpet in my game room that when any dice fell on it, they immediately vanished. Oh my god, I know exactly the carpet you're talking about. I've worked in places that mimic Office Space scarily close. You've seen the original UK version of The Office? No, I have not seen that for the show. Night, Eric. Thanks for coming by, man. Oh, Paul, you've met a couple people who've never seen The Thing. Yeah, that's one of those weird things, right? Like, you know these classic movies and you grow up, and I don't know, I guess if you're like 30s-ish, right? Now there's this new generation of people who've never seen the movies that you've always held near and dear. And have been interesting, and that you grew up even when they were kind of before your time, but you knew about them because the people who were older than you and cooler knew about those movies, so then you knew about those movies. Like, that information never passed down to the new generation. They don't know about these amazing movies. I mean, I've recently been watching like the entire Star Trek original series, and it's great. It's such a good show. Oh my gosh. Like, real ideas and philosophical questions being posed, stuff you don't see in a lot of TV these days. And you know, it's just old TV, so people don't think about it or watch it. But yeah, there's some great stuff. And The Thing is one of them, even though, yes, I recognize that it's a remake, but it's still good. Hello, Tobias. Welcome. Garrick's Reavers from Shadespire. Chaos. Chaos. Mostly base coding. Base coding chaos. More Gamer Girl needs a theme song. I do. I'm working on that. I've learned, you know, again, maybe Fiverr, I don't know. Let's see. The host of the Monster Talk podcast actually opens the window so you can watch The Thing in the cold yearly. Wow, that is crazy. Anyone that likes Office Space should check out Waiting. That's the one with Ryan Reynolds in it, right? I don't know. I wasn't as big a fan of that one. I was pulled away, but hi. Hey, Dusty. Welcome back. We're just talking about New Year's, and I know you've got some plans for New Year's that may take you away from, I don't know, we'll see. But in the meantime, we've got awesome stuff that we can still do on Media Glitch. And actually, we need to hang out. We should have a time of you and Alex over again and hang out and play some games and chill. Enjoy the new year. We'll have a belated New Year celebration because I just went to bed on New Year's Eve. Because I live in a state with a huge drunk driving problem and was not interested in that noise, so. But now that that's over, we'll just run the normal risk of a drunk driver at any given time of day here. Oh, New Mexico, why? Why do you like this? I only have 10 minutes left. This has really gone by. You guys have been so fun to hang out with. There we go. Well, we're getting them coming along. Let's see if I can actually finish them and follow through on the other stuff I've been wanting to do, like post these on Instagram. Post my accomplishments, have something I can measure. That's useful. Hey Shiva, how you doing? We'll try to stay a bit and watch what's up. I'm only here for a few more minutes anyway. Good. Dustin, we'll have to just make that plan then and make that happen because it's just fun to hang out with friends again. Maybe we can find another Neil Breen movie to watch together. As always, thanks for sharing your time around and making some nice progress on that leather-clad evil boy. Hope 2020 is brilliant for everyone. Me too. Well, honestly, there's no reason it shouldn't be. So, we'll get there. And good luck on the house saving up. I think that'll be awesome. It's a good way to build value, you know? And that's generally the long-term goal, I believe. Alright, let's see if we can get some drop action on here of gold. Goldy gold. Trying to think of what else, really. Hasn't been a whole lot else. Okay, so here's that gold kind of coming on there now. You can sort of see the difference between the brown and the dry brush gold on it. It's not super gaudy, shiny gold, but it's a subtle gold. Subtle. I live in a place where 1/3 of the drivers are drunk all the time, so I can relate. Oh my gosh, Corinne, yes. And I mean, it doesn't matter the time of day at all. Like my morning commute, I just don't know half the time. There's been many accidents that have happened in the morning with people under the influence anyway. It doesn't always mean alcohol. Painting those things sure looks relaxing. Well, that's true. Painting, when you have sort of your basics down, you're not desperately trying to figure out how to solve a painting problem, is quite relaxing. And it's been nice. It's been actually probably one of my favorite things about 2019 for me was enjoying painting, kind of finding a love for that bit of the hobby that I've sort of always dismissed. And you know, I was wrong for it. So now painting can still be tiring just because there's a lot to do, but it's still fun and relaxing. Just chilling out and doing it. Hanging out with friends and painting is really nice and relaxing. So looking forward to doing more of that in 2020, but not at the cost of other things. Don't worry, there will be battle reports. It really is happening, I promise. There we go, some pretty gold on there. And then that's going to get a wash on it anyway, and then you just bring up the gold a little bit more, and then that is the entirety of my technique. So, not too much time taken either. At the end of the day, I'm not much of a I'm not so particular on it, I should say. Alright, I think I need a smaller brush for this last bit. I only got 5 minutes. It's okay, Paul, you won't be 4,800 miles away forever. At some point you're going to come visit, and then I'm going to show you all of New Mexico. And we'll hang out, and it'll be great. Get some old gold from Vallejo. It's duller than GW gold. Also try mixing in green or blue ink for different shade values. Oh, thank you, Leonardo Andrade. Try to get green and blue for different shade values. So, I mean, I'm using this. So, I mean, I don't have GW gold either. I'm just, this is my gold. This is how I do it. I don't know, might get some new paints. The Creature Caster paints are still something I need to check out. Those seem like like they're pretty neat. Okay, so that's the lower layer. So we want to do the gold on that bit first. Yes. That can just be a wash. Just figure out his wrist guard. I can show you the antique white dry brush on his face and get his skull up so it looks right. It'll probably also get a shading, but ho him. Man. Why, thank you, Judge. Appreciate it, man. Or lady, whoever. Alright, let's see if we can get this dry brush going. Of course, the trick with a dry brush is always not overdoing it and making sure the brush is legitimately dry. Don't know that I did a good job of making sure this one is. Here we go. All right. So we're kind of seeing it come up a little bit. The idea, I'm not loving the way this is coming out here, is that the dry brushing of the white over the brown has sort of a grimy, dirty look. The actual Agrax Earth Shape might do a better job though on it, I'm not sure. But then you really want to catch those highlights because the skull has like these really specific contours on it that I want to make sure are brought up. So let's see. When in doubt, keep brushing, and you'll generally actually end up in a place you are okay with. It's legitimately been like the thing I've found out, and I'm like, oh, this isn't looking right. And it's like, just keep working it. And yeah, you kind of, it works itself through. Kind of is. Yay. All right, here we go. Your little dude looks good so far. Thank you. I drove through New Mexico last weekend. It's a beautiful state. It is. You've got to kind of know what to look for, and we have an amazing night sky. So it's definitely worth it. Valerian, yeah, Paul, Valhalla this year. I'll try to get over too. Oh man, that'd be so awesome. Should try some black 3.0. Apparently the blackest black you can get. Looks like it would be fun to paint with. I think I know the one you're talking about. It's like this super matte paint that makes the model look like a negative space. It's crazy. But the problem is, even when you paint black on a miniature, you don't necessarily want it to just be a full black because you lose detail in it. And so you want it to just for very small little things. Like his leather pants are a wrought iron color. It's an off black. It's not a full black because you want some detail in that. That's my thought. When it comes to painting miniatures, is it usually recommended that one avoids big brushes? Or do those work better in some cases? So this is my like get her done brush, which I have found to be quite useful actually, including like on minis where you just need to get a bunch of stuff covered. And bigger minis obviously have different requirements. So here's like one of my striker tankers, and for the red, I was just using this brush to get red all over him because the coverage is great, and then you use smaller brushes to get into finer detail. So they're actually all used, and then of course if you have a smaller brush, you're gonna have to deal with more stroke lines, whereas a bigger brush, you may not have as much an issue with that, especially on panels, things like tanks where there's a lot of flat surfaces. So it really, really depends. There's not like one answer for that. The brush that holds its point is what's important, not the size. A good point is also extremely important. The nice thing about a big brush is it'll hold a lot of paint. Lots of people dive in for tiny brushes and the paint dries before they can apply anything. That is definitely a problem, Mallory, and a lot of people try to make up for that with wet palettes. I don't typically do that, and I live in a very arid state, so I do have that issue. I just try to be kind of quick about it. Whew. I like the GW base paints for initial coats, then go between P3, Vallejo, GW, and miniature for layering and highlighting. There you go. Room your bases, I guess, or use it for zenithial. If you want a dry brush, you need a large brush that's easy to dry off. It's true. Used to go snow tubing in Ruidoso. Oh, nice. Been down there. That is a really pretty area. Makeup brushes are awesome for dry brushing. So I hear. I've never used them, actually, but big brush until you need to do details. And yeah, everybody has sort of their own technique on that, so. Hey, people of America, have you ever tried broken-toed brushes, and how do they compare to the excellent Raphael 8404 brushes? That would be a question for the rest of the audience, because I don't use either. Could work well for a spell effect or something similar. Embrace the void or some other otherworldly black. Yeah, I mean, it's just a very specific usage, you know. I use BT4 V2 brushes. Better than GW brushes in my humble opinion, and slightly cheaper. V3 just came out. Alright, well, hopefully this has been fun for you. It's certainly been fun for me, so it's always good hanging out, getting some paint on models, starting the new year off right with some actual hobbying. Good way to spend your time. And, you know, then I'll go play World of Warcraft. This guy's sort of come along. His base coloring is on there. So he's going to need some more gold trim here. His belt is going to get a gold trim. That skull in there is also going to get a dry brush white like his face has. I may do some lighter colors on his muscles as a dry brush too, just to add some variety of texture. He's got a bunch of scars on there, so I'll have to figure out how to do that, because I think you use like a pink or a purple almost to sort of get the weird coloring in there. I mean, you can kind of see it here. Or just a lighter color altogether. That could work too. That'd be more like a real scar. And then Agrax him all up and he'll be done. But obviously that didn't quite happen in 90 minutes. So thank you guys for hanging out. I hope you guys got some stuff done, and maybe we'll see you in a week or so. So you have a great night.